As Americans continue to recover from the pandemic, my administration has been working to provide student debt relief to millions of working and middle-class families across the country. But Republican special interests and elected officials sued to deny this relief, even for their own constituents. But I'm completely confident my plan is legal. But right now, it's on hold because of these lawsuits. We're not going to back down, though, in our fight to give families breathing room. That's why the Department of Justice is asking the Supreme Court of the United States to rule on the case. But it isn't fair to ask tens of millions of borrowers eligible for relief to resume their student debt payments while the courts consider the lawsuit. For that reason, the Secretary of Education is extending the pause on student loan payments while we seek relief from the courts, but no later than June 30, 2023. Which would give the Supreme Court an opportunity to hear the case in its current term.
Hi, it's comedian Alonzo Bodden with another Rebel HQ TYT video. So Joe Biden is going to put a freeze on these student loan payments until the Supreme Court steps in and makes a decision. Well, good on you, Joe. Good on you for trying to help these young people, trying to help people who are paralyzed or held back by student debt. Unfortunately, you're depending on this Supreme Court, Joe. This Supreme Court to help people? Listen, the only way they're going to help people suspend student loan payments is if those student loan payments are being paid by a young white male and that money is interfering with his assault weapon cash. I mean, you can't have that, right? I mean, these 80-round clips cost money. Or if it's a woman going to college. But wait, stop. According to this Supreme Court, I don't think women are supposed to go to college unless they're looking for a proper husband. Right, Amy? For those who don't watch The Handmaid's Tale, that would be Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court Justice, who's also a handmaid, who knows that her man, her husband, runs her life. What are you women doing going to college? You save your money and you get a good husband and do as you're told. That's our Supreme Court. You see, Joe, the problem is this Supreme Court isn't going to support any law or decision made since, 1800? All right, maybe 1900, but certainly nothing since that crazy decision that allowed women to vote, or those stupid equal rights, voting rights laws from the 60s. That's nonsense, right? The only way that this Supreme Court is going to support a college education is if you have rich parents who pay for your college education. There is one exception. There is an exception. If you play ball for a college where your rich parents can pay for your education and you represent them. Isn't that right, Clarence Thomas? Isn't that why you love Herschel Walker? I don't see this Supreme Court making any decision that's going to help the people. That doesn't seem to be the business they're in. So good luck, Joe, and good luck, students in student debt. I don't see this Supreme Court helping you. Maybe they'll surprise me. I doubt it.
Payments will resume 60 days after the pause ends. I'm never going to apologize for helping working class and middle class families recover from the economic crisis created by the pandemic. And I'll continue working to make government work to deliver for all Americans, This is important.
You see, the Supreme Court and the right wing do not want people educated. That's the last thing they want, educated voters. If you are educated voters, you might want to keep the right to vote. You might want to stop the gerrymandering of districts. You might want to stop selling our elections to corporations. You might want something crazy like a living wage or a union and benefit. No. They want to keep you uneducated so you know your place, undereducated so you know your place, or if you're educated, you're under a mountain of debt and now you're under obligation to work off that debt so you can't build a better future. That's what it's about. You get your ass out there and become a worker bee so that the CEO who's making millions can make more millions and the billionaire who owns all the stock can make more billions. That's what they want. They don't want you educated. Are you kidding? Not the right wing. No. Next thing you want, clean air, clean water, and you crazy women want to control your own bodies. Can't have any of that. It's not what Jesus would want. If you're educated, you might not believe Tucker Carlson when he tells you not to take the vaccine even though he's already vaccinated. You might think that Donald Trump is a criminal for taking classified documents rather than believing that he somehow mentally declassified them. You might see through the hypocrisy of supporting Herschel Walker, a man who is anti-abortion and has paid for who knows how many abortions. They don't want that. They want to keep you undereducated. They want to keep you believing whatever narrative they give because that works. But here's the funniest part about the right wing. They're the ones always crying and yelling about America first. Well, guess what, right wing? America isn't first. Why? Because we don't educate our youth. We don't value educating our youth. So other countries pass us in test scores in math and science. Other countries are growing their economies faster. They're building things we used to build. They're beating us. They're beating us. One of the most short-sighted things we do as a country is not invest in education. It blows my mind. It is beyond belief that we as a country don't think education is important. And all these old right-wingers who got their college education in the 40s or the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, maybe even the 90s, when it was much cheaper, are now sitting back saying, no, this generation should not be educated, should not be able to afford an education, which leads to home ownership and building family values. They're against it. I don't understand it. Joe Biden, you're depending on the Supreme Court. I honestly say good luck, and I hope it works out, and I hope we relieve a lousy $10,000 worth of debt versus the millions upon millions in PPP loans that these same Congress people and legislatures forgave. Oh, wait, that's right. They took out the loans they were forgiving. Good luck with this, Joe.